Welcome to the Your Family Dog podcast, where we celebrate the special bond between families and their canine companions. Our goal is to help families and dogs grow up together, one episode at a time. Today on the Your Family Dog podcast, we welcome Debby Lucken, who is the founder of Kids Around Dogs, an award-winning association of dog professionals and childcare professionals who specialize in working with families and schools to help children and dogs live in harmony together. So, Debby, I'm so excited to have you here on the Your Family Dog podcast. So, scheduling was a little bit funny because you're in England.
Yeah.
So, I'm drinking my coffee and she's ready to finish up her day.
Yeah, exactly.
So, her
Hopefully
brain's
not.
firing on all the cylinders, and mine is like, wait, what day is it? So, good
Yeah, we
morning
must
and
think
good
there are many
afternoon.
cylinders left anyway, so it's fine.
So, tell me about Kids Around Dogs.
So we're an association of professionals, and we specialize in working with children and dogs. We work with families and in schools. We work with school dogs, so dogs that have more of a permanent position into schools. We work with neurodivergent children and their dogs, as we know how important that bond is and how useful as well it can be. And we just work with general families. They might have, they might planning to expand their family by welcoming a baby or adopting a child, and they have a dog and they might not know what to do. Or if maybe they have children and they want to welcome a dog in the family. And again, we are there to help. And we also work with children and adults on overcoming their fear of dogs.
That sounds wonderful. So, how
Thank
many professionals are a part of your organization?
So we're nearly 200 professionals across the world, mostly UK, as you can imagine, because we're UK based. But we do have some folks in the US as well, which is lovely. And Canada, Mexico, Argentina, France, Spain, the Netherlands, Sweden. So yeah, everywhere.
So, what gave you the idea to form the organization?
Well, I have a child. I'm a mother. And when my daughter was about 3 years old, she started to make friends at preschool. So she started to invite her new friends over to the house for little play dates and such. And up until then, she would have had friends that I already knew, through baby classes and stuff. You meet the mom and then you meet the babies, and they're kind of put together in a way, whilst those for the first time were little humans that she would have chosen herself. So very different situation. So they'd come over for a play date, and suddenly they would be surrounded by dogs, because we already had dogs then. And some children were fine, a dog is a dog. Some were instead overconfident around dogs, so much as to be like in their face too much and everything. And while, our dogs were used to kids, still, it's still a dog, and it's not fair on, putting them in that situation. And also, of course, it might not have been safe. Um, and the opposite, very far opposite, were children who are scared of dogs. So they would do anything to run away from our dogs. Um, so that would mean climbing on their parents or try to go upstairs, or crying, bless them, and really kind of freeze. And I thought there must be something to help all these children, the children that were either overconfident or the children that really didn't want to have anything to do with dogs. So I looked around, and at the time, again, this is about 11 years ago now, I looked around and I did found someone that you already know, the Family Pause with Jennifer. Brilliant association, absolutely fantastic. I know you interviewed her already.
Well, and I've been a member. I was actually the first member outside of Jennifer. So Jennifer was just starting out, and I said, I want more of this. And the reason why was I was a dog trainer who at the time did not have children, but was working to adopt through social services. So we were going to have foster children. We were going to have older children coming in. I eventually adopted our daughter. And so that was a very long time ago, 25 years ago. So
Yeah.
I was like, Eep, I know how to do this from like the dog trainer perspective, but from the mama perspective, like,
Mhm.
oh, I need to think about this. And I didn't want to base that just on my experience growing up with dogs.
Yeah.
I wanted really some solid facts behind what I was
Yeah.
working on to really foster the love affair that I have with dogs with any child who was living in our household. And likewise, introduce my dogs who had always been with adult humans
Mhm.
to, my niece would visit. She was overconfident with dogs and so often did not have access because it's not my
Mhm.
job to parent her. Um,
No, of course.
but I
Yeah. Yeah.
also don't want there to be a conflict
Yeah. Yeah.
that would be dangerous for all involved. So
Mm.
typically my dogs were out of the way. If my niece was there, we were just having fun with her. And I thought, you know what, I need some support to make this work more magically.
Yes.
So that actually started my entire um, push in
Yeah.
working with kids and dogs in a much more uh, sophisticated way
Mhm.
than kind of me bumbling along with
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
life
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Jennifer, she's done an amazing job. And I really, admire everything she does really. From
Yes.
back then to this day, she's still, yeah.
And what
Um,
got her to talk about you was I was saying, like, Jennifer, when are you going to move beyond toddlers?
mhm.
Right? Like, in my experience, teenagers are just as hard for the family dog, if
Yeah.
not harder than the toddlers are. So
Mhm.
she said, no, 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 I'm staying in this niche, and there are other people in other niche. And I know Justine Sherman. And
Mhm. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
then your name
Justin.
came up, and I was like, and I love Justine, like, she's
Yeah.
amazing too.
She's
And so I was like, okay, now I get to talk to Debbie.
Yay! Thank you. You see, like everything, everything kind of
And I love that
blends it.
everybody's playing nicely in the
Yeah.
same pool, right? That
Well, the
everybody
thing is that,
appreciates everyone else.
yeah, absolutely appreciate, and I know Justine is also actually come back to the UK
Yeah,
now.
she's
She lives
back.
in the UK,
Yeah.
back in the UK. So I got to meet her in person finally. We like
US
took a
got
taxi
dumber
out.
when she moved because she's really brilliant. I really enjoy Justine.
She's fantastic, and she's got so much energy and so much really passion as well. Brilliant. And the thing is that I think we all respect what we do. We all have the same goal of wanting to help as many kids and as many dogs as possible. And I always think, what, there is enough kids and dogs to go around for everyone.
Yes,
So I think we can definitely work together. And to be fair, they really are awesome, awesome people. So it's not like it's just working together. I actually enjoy having a conversation with them. So it makes it much
yes,
easier.
yes. And I think we all educate one another, right? I
Yeah,
know when I
absolutely.
learn something new, I'm like, Jen,
Yeah, yeah.
like,
And
check out
really,
what I just
it,
started doing and it's working great. Sometimes I learn that what works for me doesn't necessarily work for
yeah,
another trainer and they
yeah,
can't
yeah,
replicate it. And I'm like, I wonder what I'm doing that's different
yeah,
that it works out well.
yeah.
So if you were if you were sitting down with a family who is thinking about adding a dog to their household and they have, here in the US 2.2 kids, and it's a busy family, what is the very first thing that you bring to their attention that you
Well,
try
the
to help
very
with?
first thing has to be management, which means having things in place in the house, say a playpen. But I think you call it something else. We call it a playpen, but you call it an
A lot of people here call it a pack and play, which is actually just a
Pack and
brand.
play. Okay, that's it. I've heard a few different things in America terms. So, but yeah, here is a playpen. But yeah, and the thing that a lot of parents don't know yet is, for instance, in a playpen, it doesn't have to be the dog in and the baby out or the kid out. It can be the other way around. It can be that you
Yes,
put, say, is quite young, then the baby or the toddler can go in there. Obviously, if they are teenagers or preteen and so on, maybe not the play, not the playpen,
although
but
sometimes I think moms want to put them
sometimes,
in a pack and play with a
yeah,
lid on it.
sometimes don't you wish you could just put your preteen in there, your teen in there, and off you go. I'll see you when you're,
Just push them food every once in a while.
see you when you come down a bit. So yeah, so this kind of management, I would say, is always the first thing, not only because it can prevent so much from happening, but also parenting is hard. And sometimes you're tired. And these days, a lot of families have both parents working. So, they're busy with work. And they maybe come home or they work from home and their head is not quite there. You're still thinking about work. And then the kids are calling, or do you have to make dinner? Blah, 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 blah. Life can be exhausting and busy. So if you have a playpen, if you have stairgate, even if you have like a nice room for the dog, not for the dog to be there all day, of course, but for that time when I got to cook now, or I got to feed the child, I've got to
Right.
help with homework, whatever it is that your concentration cannot be fully on the interaction between the kids and dogs, then management is what's going to save the situation effectively.
Yes. And I think sometimes people are really resistant to management. And
Yes,
I fail to understand why sometimes, because it doesn't mean the dog is in doggy jail. It doesn't mean our child
yeah,
is in child jail.
yeah,
It
yeah.
just means that sometimes a little bit of separation
Mm,
allows mom or dad to focus on the needs of whatever's going on in the family
exactly.
without
Yeah,
the complication of a child and a dog needing us at exactly the same time, which
yeah,
invariably is what happens, right?
exactly. Yeah,
And then when you add in, the young puppy or the bouncy adolescent puppy or
yeah.
the old dog, like we have an old dog right now who's losing his hearing and his vision. I
Mm,
find myself doing the same enrichment that I do with puppies. Like
mm.
the other day, I set up a ball pit for him and dumped his dinner in it and said,
Oh,
"Here, go
that's
find
good.
it."
Yeah.
Um, but he could, if I had, and he loves kids, but if
Mm,
I had little kids over here, I think it would overwhelm them the same way that when a puppy is visiting, that's kind of overwhelming to him.
of course,
So
yeah.
while he loves them, it would be more incorporating him when everybody was sitting around playing a board game or reading or watching a movie versus while the kids are out running around playing
Yeah,
tag.
yeah, yeah. It's a whole different world, isn't it? Not only when the kids are more active, us as parents need to really have like more eyes. Basically, you need to be so much more aware of the situation. Well, instead, as you mentioned, for instance, playing a board game or watch some TV or something is a completely different game, isn't it? You can chill a little bit. That doesn't mean that you're not still supervising. I think I always say, and Jennifer as well has beautiful material on that on Family Pause on how active supervision is super important because you could be on your phone, be physically present indeed, but if you're on your phone, if you're reading a book, if you're chatting with your partner or something, you're not actively there, really. Your mind is somewhere else, your eyes even are somewhere else.
Right. And it's so difficult. I've started using airplane mode on my phone. So like and it's helped a ton.
Oh,
Now I
sure.
kind of hate turning it off because as soon as I turn it off, like the 30,000 notifications hit and I'm
Yeah,
like,
you
okay,
don't
now
want
I
that
want to go to
extra.
bed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I feel for parents today. I don't know how they're doing it. Right? Like there's so many moving parts and kids are
Yeah.
so active in so many activities that I I don't know. I'm
It,
grateful that I raised my daughter when she didn't have a cell phone, and that
well,
smartphones didn't really like the only people who had smartphones were like the elite, right? Like it wasn't
yeah, or
everybody.
someone that needed it for work or something. It wasn't, you didn't have practically your whole life into this thing, including being able to browse the internet freely, being reachable in any way and
Or
portal
pay your
possible.
bills. I had a lesson yesterday, and somebody said, "Hold on a second, I need to pay my car bill."
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? You're like,
I was
why do
like,
you even
"Good for
think
you."
about that right now? Yeah.
Right. And it was, she got a notification and she forgot she had meant to. But
Yeah.
so I see that we as humans, all of us, are getting more and more highly distractible
Mm.
and becoming like a young gun dog, right? Like we can't think. So I try to get people, again, management, but to have like 4 or 5 loose plans, rituals, if you will, of what's the dog going to do when the kids are blah blah blah, or what's the dog
Mhm.
going to do when I'm blah blah blah.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so that they think in terms of, and then prepare the dog for that.
Yeah, yeah.
So how do you help families? I know what my answer is. I'm wondering what your answer is.
Well,
Where the dog has not been prepared to be separated even by a few feet from the family, and really gets kind of sideways about that and struggles. How do you help families recognize that a kindness of how to teach, like, no, I'm right here, you're fine. So can
Yeah,
you
yeah.
talk about that a little bit?
So yeah, I use, different things, and also it always depends on the families, the situation, what's going on. But I like to work on, for instance, like a relaxation protocol where the dog can get used in time to be left knowing that someone is always coming back, so they're not being abandoned. Give them enrichment things such like a WestPaw toy, for instance, where they can spend a bit of time with these toys and build the time that they are independently living as such, but at the same time they're safe and that they're doing something that they can enjoy and they get a kick out of without necessarily having to have us around all the time. But I would say, and also, and that's for every parent of every age, when they say it takes a village, it really does. When you have an emergency, make sure you do have a backup person. Could be your neighbor, could be a family member, could be a professional. There are a lot of people whose job is to be a pet sitter, a dog walker, and all sorts of things. Some people take the dog to their home. Some people come and stay at your house. I have a trusted person who even has my home keys. If something happens, because life happens, I can call her and go, oh my gosh, the dog is there alone and the cat. And we are going to be way later than expected. Can you please pop in? And, and she does. I could ask the neighbor, but sometimes the neighbor is not there and we help each other out a lot, which is fantastic. Another friend of mine also has my key just in case. So I have 3 to 4 people that are uh, my go-to.
You're
If
just
life
in case
happens,
people.
I can, yeah, I can contact them.
I love that.
Yeah.
I do find that a lot of people struggle with their dog not being comfortable being away from them when they're home. Like, their dog
Yes,
isn't
yeah.
acting out while they're at work, but when they're home and they want to close the door to, I don't know, go to
You
the
can even do
bathroom
that.
by
Yeah.
themselves, the dog really struggles because, like, no, you're finally home. I want to spend time with you. And I mean, I know in our household, if I try to go to the restroom, 4 dogs, a cat, and the man are usually in there. They're like, she's
Let
going
me
to sit
go.
still for 30 seconds. So, there is a little bit of how many conversations. I always want to ask people, like, how many conversations go on through the bathroom door
Oh
in
my
your
gosh,
household?
yeah.
Like, because those are some of our big conversations because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know
yeah.
where he's going to be. So, what are some things that you think? So, when you're talking about management, let me back up. When you're
Yeah.
talking about management, I'm just curious. So, in the UK, in Europe in general, people don't really use dog crates. Here in the US, we use dog
Yeah.
crates a lot.
A lot
We
of the
use
time.
kennels. And there's a whole bunch of reasons why. I mean, one, the distances, like, we drive everywhere,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
The United States is pretty big.
yeah.
We travel a lot. Like, I drove 2 hours to the Atlanta airport and back the other day to take my sister,
And it was just nothing to you.
right? And so we have, like, we're not, the towns and cities are very different
Yes.
in some ways. The culture is very different. We travel and we don't take a train, we take a car. That's
Mhm.
because there aren't trains. So, um, how do you handle management and separation for a household that isn't using crates? Do you just use
Yeah.
gates? Like, are you, like, using the
Um,
laundry room or a bathroom? What are you
Yeah,
doing?
yeah, for example. So there is to say as well that logistic within even the single houses is very different from the US. Our
Yes.
homes are much smaller than the general homes in the US. From my understanding, I went to the US only once years ago for our
Well, if
honeymoon,
you ever
actually.
come to
Yeah.
Atlanta, you have a guest room to stay in.
Oh my God, thank you. But yeah, so it's very different how we live, and also again, sometimes having a crate in a home in the UK would mean they'd have to be quite a small crate and unfair on the dog. And some people again don't have the space or they adapt their house differently. Here is very common to have a cupboard under the stairs, and I know everyone loves it because it
Oh, I
reminds them.
love that.
Yeah, because Harry Potter lived in a cupboard at the stairs. This is
Right.
very common here in the UK. A lot of other European countries have that. So a lot of people turn that
Into a crate.
into the little kind of doggy nook, if you like. And some people are
Okay.
very creative with that, which is fantastic.
And I would
Um,
also say, like, there's not a law that says you have to use a tiny crate. Like, my dogs
no, I
have
know.
very
Yeah.
generous crates
It should be a generous
so
crate.
that because if they're going to spend, I mean, our dogs aren't crated a ton, they're crated some.
Mhm.
They stay fluent in the skill. And like right now, I have 3 extra dogs at my house, 2 of which are not comfortable with dogs except their sibling. So
Mhm.
I'm doing a lot of crate and rotate. So you get to play in the house and the other ones are put away, and then somebody else is outside playing so that they all are getting all the moving pieces.
Mhm.
But the crates are big. Like I don't
Mhm.
really use small crates, even unless I'm house training a puppy. If I'm
Okay.
house training a puppy, that's different. But once a dog is fully house trained, I'm going to be as generous with a crate as I can.
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't know. I'd like my sewing room to be bigger.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the dogs like a big crate.
Yeah. Well, that's a big difference as well from what we could have here in the UK. Realistically, in normal homes, uh, there is no way I'd be able to, for instance, fit a big crate. Even this is my office slash guest room when someone comes to stay. There is no way that I can fit a big crate in here. Otherwise, I can't open the sofa bed, that kind of thing.
Right.
So we
Well,
start.
we put in a Murphy bed, right?
Mm.
And sitting next to me, just to my right, is an entire drum kit because my guy is a professional drummer. And then I'm
Yeah.
like in this corner of the guest room slash drum kit slash
Something else.
office recording podcast studio.
You have
Because
to improvise.
even here, like we're gonna use the space
Yeah,
if we can. And the cat gets his own room because litter box.
obviously.
I try not to make a house guest sleep with the litter box room. Um,
It's a shame. That's the reason why we go.
right. Okay, so that makes sense that people are using like because I'm always like, how are you confining a dog and house training them? But I bet you also have little mud rooms too, like off the garden, where
Oh,
everybody
like a
takes
like
off
a
their
summer
boots
house
and their
kind of
coat and
thing.
puts their umbrella down because it rains
Yes,
every day.
some people do. Yeah, not everyone, but
Oh,
some people
not
do. Like
everyone?
for instance, we have a summer house at the end of the garden, which is a small house, and there is like a little shed for just like I don't
All
even know
that
what when
stuff.
I open that. There is all the rubbish in the world, isn't there? But like things for the garden. But there is also, and this is could also be kind of a personal opinion in a way, the fact that I am not super in love with crate just because people, at least here in the UK, when they do have them, tend to use them too much and tend to just chuck the dog in there from when they have to leave in the morning and when they come back in the afternoon the dog has been there all day. So I don't like that and how people might use the crate in that wrong way. The other thing that sometimes worries me about a crate, when there are little humans and they might want to go and visit the dog, that's when the parents go, the dog is in the crate, is fine, and they leave everything open because but they don't realize that actually the kid can still go and annoy the dog in the crate or can
Right.
put the finger
And the
in
dog
it.
probably feels cornered.
Yeah, yeah. It's not fair on the dog. The dog might also react, and if the child has his fingers through the crate, something could still happen. Um, and maybe also the child might think it's perfectly okay to annoy the dog while he's in there.
Well,
So, yeah.
and I will say with crating, the one like you want to watch me become apoplectic as a dog trainer, let your child play in the dog crate. Because it's like how to have your dog attack your child, right? And you can't get in there.
And
It's
you see
like
it all the time on social media, don't you? Photos or video, people, oh,
and
look,
I'm like,
that's
please
not
don't,
cute.
please. It's not a game. And so
Yeah.
I have very few things that I will lose my marbles over. That is one of them. Like even my dogs, like I have my old dog, my elderly dog is a little befuddled. And so his new thing is to go check everybody else's crate to see if there's some contraband in there.
So,
And I'm
yeah.
like, dude, you're
So,
going to get yourself murdered because it's kind of like going in your mom's bedroom. Like, you don't do
drawing.
that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like,
Nah, yeah.
this is this dog's space. You don't get to go in there and harass him. And I mean, I have one dog who will come flying across the household. He doesn't even like his crate, but if somebody goes in his crate, he's like, that's my crate.
Heavily.
Okay, let's calm down. All right. So give me, because you are in another country, you are in another part of the world, give me your favorite enrichment and management ideas
Ideas. So
because they might
I
be
have
different than here.
maybe, I don't know. I don't know if you have the Freework, it's ACE Freework. Have you got this in the US? It's
Ace
basically
free work.
but you can learn it from here, from the expert is Sarah Fisher in Devon, a county here in the UK. The kind of activity is called ACE Freework, so ACE. And what you do to make it as simple as possible, you basically prepare a room or the garden, whatever you have. It doesn't have to be a massive space with bits and bobs. You can even use an upside down flower pot. You can use an old box. You can use those ruffle rugs where you put bits in it. You can use some like at the end of a broomstick, for example, whatever, to put it there, and you get the kids as well involved to create maybe discourse with any ideas that they may have, and then the kid as well, along with the parents, can hide some treat, spread some peanut butter on some bits, whatever really can be as creative as you want it to be, and then you release the dog in finding all the stuff that people have hidden. Could also be a toy, for example. I find the food is a bit more uh, interesting, a bit more flexible sometimes, and the dog then eats it and move on to the other thing. While instead, if he's too curious about moving on to the food, it might see the bowl and might go, or another time I go, oh, that's my toy. But then I go, I'm not nice because I really want to finish that bit of peanut butter that is over there. So it might drop the toy. So this is mostly my experience. So that's why I use the food more than toys. But you can still hide those. And what happens is that the dog is free. That's why free word is free to move however he pleases, however his body allows. So his head goes up to get maybe something is a bit up high, then he goes down if he's something on the floor, then he has to move his paw. I use his paw to move something out of the way, whatever it is. It, the dog is not, we are not pointing or anything, it's the dog that chooses where to go first and after, and what to move, what not to move, what not to touch at all. But there are no expectations. And the dog has just that sense of freedom to be himself effectively. And I love that. I use it a lot with my own dog, and I used to use it as well. In July last year, our Wilco, our pug, passed away. But when he was in his older years as such, he could do that very easily, even being a pug that we rescued, and he had obviously some breathing problem, but that was perfectly fine for him. There were lots of activities for him to do. Our other dog is a golden retriever. Her nose is long, for example, so I can even hide bits in a bit of a more complicated things. Her brain also works much differently, and she's still in her prime of her life as such, so she can do so much more. I tell you, like, this free work is something that I use all the time. I love getting families involved because the kids can really get into it and quite passionately. They can draw a map of where to put what and then
Right.
put
Like
the
what
tree
we're going
in.
to do.
So brilliant.
So is that like a Saturday activity? Like you're taking maybe the guest room and pushing the drum kit out of the way and setting, or the kitchen, and setting
Yeah.
that up for the dog as like an adventure room.
Yeah, you can do that, or you can improvise because you go, oh my gosh, I haven't got that much time to really make it into a proper thing. I get a couple of bits out. If I haven't got that much time, put the stuff there, get the kid by, put the treat in, and then we let Winnie the go to let Winnie in, and then she goes. And because she knows the activity, so she knows that she's looking for
She
stuff,
knows the game.
she knows the game, but at the same time, because it's always different, she also needs sometimes to find some things. She knows, though, I am going to find something,
Right.
which maybe a dog that's never done it before might go, am I going to find something, or do I just smell it?
What's this about?
So, yeah. But so she knows
Yes.
for
The first
sure.
time I put the elderly dog in the ball pit, he just looked at me like, have you lost your mind? And then I showed him that I threw a couple of little pieces of chicken jerky in there, and he was like, game on.
Yeah.
right? Because he's a Jack Russell. He wants to hunt.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
wants to scavenge and scritch around.
Right.
And I'm like, look, I'm taking an outside game and I'm bringing it inside, and we're using
Yeah.
a ball pit to accommodate that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I do try to help families, instead of getting more stuff, to think about the things they already have.
Yeah. Yes.
And then I asked a mama, how do you like clean your ball pit balls? And she's like, I put them in the washer.
Oh my gosh, really?
Delicate. And she
Okay.
said, and then I throw them in the dryer on air. So it like bebops,
Oh,
all,
okay.
it beats all the water off of them. And then I just open the dryer and let it dry. And then we're done. And I was like, that is a way to do it. Like
That is
that's
the way to do it.
brilliant. She also uses the dishwasher, but she's like, you got to be careful about the heat dry.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I love the idea of Ace Freework. I'll have to look that up. So anything else?
Well, that is definitely my go-to, but I always recommend my clients as well to have stuff ready. So the freezer is basically our best friend. So things like WestPaw toys, again, you can put like in the toddler, for instance, you can fill it up with some wet food or
Or
anything that you
leftovers.
can create.
Like
Sorry?
every single mama I know is like, oh my goodness, like he ate 3 bites of chicken nugget. And I'm like, listen, don't feel bad. Break it up, put it
Yeah,
in a baggie, and it's going to be ready to stuff.
exactly.
Like as long as it's dog safe, like not macadamia nuts, not
Yeah,
grapes. But like if you have leftover mashed potato and some chicken nugget and some green beans, shove that in a Kong
perfect.
and
Yeah.
call it a day.
Exactly. Nothing gets wasted really, and
Right.
it's a win-win for everyone. Yeah. And also when you have, the baby food as well, obviously look at the ingredient, make sure that it's safe for
But
the
the
dog.
dogs
Again,
love it
yeah, my God.
for
And it's so
grooming.
easy as well
Oh,
for us to put it in there. And very often is on sale.
yes.
It's a bit funny, but you need to look at the what you're spending as well. Very often baby food is on sale. Just look at the ingredients, make sure there is no onions, that stuff that can be bad for the dog. And then, you're golden. And often as well, some cat food is better than dog food. So yeah, some cat food is better than the food because ideally the cat food should only be meat, but very
Right.
often, as we know,
Because
it isn't. Yeah.
they're obligate carnivores.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But there is definitely less stuff that they put in the dog
There's
food.
less junk.
Yeah, less
Yeah.
junk. But again, if
And
you've
baby food
got
too,
another
right?
option.
Like generally baby food's pretty clean,
Yes, yeah.
right?
Baby food it really is the best. All the ones again that you cooked yourself, as you said. How many times you made the food for the kids and they've eaten a quarter of it, if you're lucky, because sometimes
Right.
it doesn't get. Yeah. So just brilliant. Chop it up. You can mix it with some yogurt if you want, or some
Hmm.
broth, and put it in things like West Paw product or other brand if you know others that you're already using. I put some cling film around it so that it doesn't spill anywhere, especially doesn't spill in my freezer because, don't want
Right.
to be
It's hard to
cleaning.
clean.
And then when I need it, and I'm like, I'm running out of time, I need something now, or we need to pop out, and I just, the stress of everything, it's just so much easier. Go in the freezer, get it out, take the cling film away, chuck that, and give the dog the frozen toy there. And what happens as well, because it's frozen, it becomes like an ice lolly, doesn't it? And it lasts longer and
It
doesn't
does.
get
It
house
lasts longer.
dirty. It doesn't get the house dirty because even if they chuck it in there, it's piece of ice that comes
So-
off.
right. And that's where I'm like, great. Like, I don't want that in my kitchen on the floor.
Mhm,
Right. So for me, a lot of those are crate
mhm.
toys, right? Like, okay, you're going to get that enrichment in your crate. One, because we have multiple dogs.
Yeah.
So I don't want one dog hassling another dog. But I also, I don't have little kids in the house, but I wouldn't want my child approaching my dog
Yeah.
who's enjoying something amazing in their crate. I want the child to leave the dog alone. So utilizing, and I know you're not a fan of crates. I will tell you,
Oh,
crates are not awful. I love you. They're not awful. The dogs
no,
love
no,
them.
no, no. It's just I don't
It's
use
just
them myself,
culturally different.
and if I can, again, it so depends as well on the logistic of a family
Yeah.
and the household as well. How many times have I been into a house where they have bought a crate already, and for instance, they have adopted I don't know, a Labrador, but the crate is for a kitten. And I'm like, this is not going to work. You know, oh, but there is no other space. Well, what are you going to, you can't use that
Right.
maybe as the very beginning, because the puppy is still a puppy. It's
Right.
okay, but you're going to need to increase the size. And they go, but there is no space. Where should we put it? Well, then you can't use a crate. We're going to have to
Right.
be
It's a
creative and use
different
something
thing.
else instead.
It's like being
But
in an
again,
apartment.
this is because it's very kind of normal for English homes to be smaller. We have also a lot of cottages in this country, or bungalows as well. There is no space for that.
Right.
When I see, and also when I see a family that are adopting a dog, and their plan is, oh, we all leave at 8 in the morning to go to school. What time are you coming back? Well, the kids are coming back about 4:30. We're coming back about 5, 6. Who's going to look after the dog during the day? Oh, the dog walker is coming at 12. So that means that you're leaving and for an hour. That means that for 4 hours, the dog is in the crate. It's going to have an hour walk, and then another, 4 hours alone in the crate. It's a bit unfair. So I want them to understand that,
So
a long time
so
to
that's
just,
interesting. So
Mhm.
I mean, dogs require a tremendous amount of sleep.
Yes, yeah,
So whether they're in a crate, like that's well apportioned for them, like it's a very nicely decorated crate. Like I always joke, they can put whatever posters they want on the walls. I'm okay with that. Like
that is
it's
the
their
very
bedroom.
difference, though.
So
Yeah,
they have a place that they're comfortable, they're secure, they're safe, they're not chewing on something that could kill them. I'm also not worried if a door gets accidentally opened that a dog is going to escape and get hit by a car, right? Like I can manage hazards. Um, my dogs just sleep and they're perfectly content to do that. They're
but I
like,
tell you, the
go, leave me
difference.
alone. I
Yeah,
want to take a nap.
I really think the difference is the size here, because the idea in this country
Right.
is
If you
it
have little
has to
ones,
be,
that's terrible.
normally, even if you go to a pet store here, I don't know in the US, but here they'll send you the crate on. The dog should be just able to stand up and turn around.
Oh,
That's it.
yeah,
So
that's
that is
minimum.
unfair. That's what I'm
No,
saying.
that's not fair.
Yeah. So
I would agree.
instead, if there was the possibility of having, nice crate, as you said, you
Yes.
could put your poster, take that or whatever,
And
a
we
little
have
Christmas tree,
two.
and
We have a lot of crates that are like there's a crate on the bottom and an end table on the top. So a drawer and that so you can put your
okay,
like
yeah,
they're part of
you
the
put your bits
family
and bobs on.
or
Yeah.
it holds the television. We
Yeah.
don't have a television, but lots of people have like instead of the
Those,
big
yeah, 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 yeah,
credenza
yeah.
that the television
Yeah.
sits on, that's two dog crates
Yeah.
with drawers and a top and then the TV so that you are utilizing the space as,
And yeah,
compactly
yeah,
as
yeah. As you have it in your home, yeah. But again, it depends on the dog. You see, like for
oh yeah.
instance, there is a brilliant company here that is called the Pet Carpenter in the UK. They
Pet
make
what?
it this Pet Carpenter. So these guys, it's a brother and sisters. They have the businesses in I think it's Devon, if I remember correctly. And they make the furniture to measure around your home and your dog. So if you have, say, back to the Labrador, and you say, you know what, I want a crate for my Labrador, but I want it to be an under the television little cupboard, and we have a 20 by 20 centimeter space, they'd be like, we can't do that. But they'll come and they'll see your house and go, let's use
What
another
about this
part of
spot in the
that
corner?
they haven't thought of, and that is a different way of doing it.
Yeah.
But if you generally just go for the general crate that they sell you in a pet store or online, they will literally sell you something where the dog can
That's tiny.
stand up, turn around, and pluck himself. And
Yeah, that's not
yeah,
fair.
that's not a
I don't
space.
wanna sleep in a closet.
Exactly, exactly. That
So,
is the big difference that I am making.
yes.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah, and we're here, I think we are about, like, we have more space, and so
yeah,
we wanna give the dog enough space that that's
yeah.
comfortable and relaxing, and, I mean, I have a 48-inch crate in my car, right? So the Doberman can load into it.
Yeah.
I probably could put Doberman and another dog in there. It's
Mhm.
that generous. I
My God.
wouldn't because that wouldn't be very fair, but I have a giant crate in the car. I bought a different car because we got the Doberman
Okay.
and he
Yeah.
didn't fit in my sedan.
Fair
So,
enough.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I recognize that not everybody has such a flexible situation.
Everything.
So
Yeah, or even, even on cars, for instance, we have a Mini, a very British car, but
right.
also parking is very much an
Yeah.
issue in this
Yeah.
country. So,
Yeah.
you have to go for smaller car that can fit everyone anyway. And,
Oh, yes. I'm looking forward. So I have it's total aside. I have a 78 Alfa Romeo Spider, and I'm trying to figure out how to put the Doberman in it because he loves to go. He'd have to have goggles, right? So that his eyes are safe. And I'd have to somehow belt him into like the little cubby that's made for
Bless
your
them.
picnic basket. But I was like, can I fit the Doberman in the Spider? I don't know if I
I mean, I'm not expert in cars or anything, but I don't think so.
probably not. No.
I
No,
don't
he
think
would
that's
like to
gonna
go with
happen.
the motorcycle too, but he doesn't do that. So, okay, so we talked about your ACE free work. We talked about planning ahead. I think planning ahead is such a lifesaver,
Yes, it
such a
really is. Yeah.
lifesaver. So when you're conditioning, so what the way you condition separation is like, here's a yummy Kong. You're just going to be on the other side of this gate.
Mhm.
Enjoy the Kong on the other side of the gate.
I do build this, especially if hopefully the family will call us before, kind of it's too late in a way. But I like to build this, so I like to say as well, get a chair, sit by the entrance of the gate, or whatever. If you want, you can sit inside to start with, and then build it up and build the distance. I also love to use, like I said, like a relaxation protocol, so where we literally build where we are around the dog, and then we take a couple of steps away. I mean, then we pick up the phone, and then where there are
Right.
other things
So are
that the
you
kids will
talking
come and
about
talk
the
to.
Dr. Karen Overall protocol
Yes,
for
yes, yes,
relaxation? So
exactly.
do you find that people work through the whole protocol, or do you find people are busy enough that they're like, I'm not doing this. This is too
It is work, and I do. I always talk to my
not
clients.
hard.
It's
It's
not
not
hard at
hard,
all, but
but
I
it is
also
getting
tell them.
people to do it.
Yeah, to be fair, if that's all I give them, and I always try not to overload people because otherwise they're not going to do it. But this is literally twice a day to do the thing. And I calculated as well that the longest of the days takes 8 minutes. So is a total of 6 minutes, 16, sorry, minutes out of the day, doing 8 minutes in the morning, say, and 8 in the afternoon, is a total of 60 minutes. So when I get them to think about it that way, I feel it does help to them to realize, well, gosh, I should be able to dedicate
Right.
60 minutes to my dog a day. Yeah.
So I think this is magic for families. So when
Mhm.
I was in the thick of parenting three children, three foster children, we had nine dogs. So nine dogs, three kids.
Yeah.
Um, and I was working. Like it was a lot. So learning to time how long something took. So it was how long does it take to change the bedding? Like I would guess. I'm like, okay, if I'm going to change the bedding on my bed, how long does that take? And I was like, oh, I bet that takes half an hour. And then I'd set a timer with the kids, and they would time me, and I would do it. And they're in charge of the timer, so I know where they are and I know where the dogs are.
Yeah.
7 minutes. It takes
Yeah.
7 minutes. Well, now when I'm like, well, I've got 20 minutes before I need to leave, I'm like, oh, I can go switch bedding. Where before I would have been like, oh, that's going to make me late. I
Haven't got
can't do it.
time. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you're right. That's how it goes with many things in my life. It
Yeah,
takes a lot less time than I anticipate it's going to
yeah.
take. So if I know, and then I also time Kong consumption. So if
Mhm,
I give my dog XYZ Kong,
mhm.
you know, low fat Greek yogurt,
Yeah.
with blueberries and strawberries and maybe a handful of chicken thrown in there, frozen in a Kong, how long does that take dog A to consume?
Mhm.
If I know that that's a 45-minute deal, then I can plan
Yeah.
activities. Like opening Christmas presents is not going to take 45 minutes. Those kids are going to be done in 10
Yeah,
minutes.
in like 5.
Right. And then I'm going to be cleaning. So
Yeah.
that 45 minutes is a gift to the dog to not be involved in the chaos. And I'm classically conditioning that all of that crazy that's going on in the front room makes good things happen for the dog.
Yeah.
So the dog's not getting pushed out of the way
Mm.
for being curious, right?
No,
The kids
exactly.
aren't freaking out if the dog is touching something that it's brand new and the kids are excited
Yeah, of
about.
course, yeah.
It just
Yeah.
avoids a conflict.
Yeah, yeah. Especially when you're thinking about festivities such as Christmas. How many times we also receive as a gift something that could be hurtful or harmful to the dogs, like a box of chocolate or something.
Oh, right,
It's normal. So, and you don't know. Sometimes someone gives you a present, you put it under the tree, and then you find out
yes,
Christmas Day that, you know. So, anything could potentially be dangerous. So, for instance, for Christmas, we always put a gate, this play painting around the Christmas tree, and we put the Christmas presents in there as well. So the Christmas
right.
tree is safe and the presents are too.
And it's not just the dogs, it's the cat too. Like my cat is his kryptonite is ribbon.
Oh, bless.
And he's going to kill himself one day. So like we get these amazing gifts from family that's across the country and they're beautifully adorned with ribbon and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, goodness." So I put those gifts in gift bags
Oh, yeah, yeah.
so that the cat doesn't see them. And so far that's worked.
Yeah, that's
So
good.
let's see. So we covered like stuffed frozen stuff and we covered your Ace Freework. I'll look that up and see what Sarah has in that.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah.
anything else?
Well, if we could just say a little word about kids who are scared of dogs.
Yes.
This is something I like to, first of all, to say to maybe parents who are thinking of adopting a dog, because a lot of the time what we hear is family going, our kids are scared of dogs, let's get a dog and that will solve it. Please don't. That is unfair on the dog, first of all, because the child wants to go to the kitchen, put the dog into the bathroom because the kid is downstairs. And then, oh, the kid needs to go to the toilet. Right, dog out of the bathroom. So it's not fair on the
It's
dog.
not fair to
But
mom and
also
dad either.
on the absolutely unfair on the parents. But also on the kids, your house is that place where you're supposed to feel safe all
Safe.
the time.
Yes.
And suddenly you're living with the object of your fear under
Right.
your roof. So that's very unfair on the kids as well. So if you're thinking of adopting a dog because your kid is scared, please don't.
Right.
hold off. I'm not saying it's never going to happen tomorrow. We do have a specific protocol to overcome the fear of dog in kids that is proven very, very successful. So my very first advice would be when you're out and about and your child sees a dog, keep your cool. First of all, it's fine. Everything is going to be okay, I promise. And ask your child, what worries you about your dog, about that dog? What do you think is going to happen? What would you like it to happen? Questions that can, first of all, distract the child. Even for those couple of minutes that he has to think about it, he's not going to look at the dog thinking, oh my gosh, the dog is going to eat me, but he's going to have to think about what's in his mind. He's going to have to get it out and kind of analyze it for probably the first time in his life and then come up with an answer. That's why, don't underestimate that fear. That fear is very real. And to be
It's
fair,
very
it has to
real.
be legitimate,
What and whether it should be there or not doesn't matter.
it doesn't, is
What
irrelevant.
what
Yeah.
got it there doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
So,
like I am afraid of snakes. I am well aware that the average snake is not any harm to me.
mhm.
And yet I pee a little bit when I
Thanks
see
for
snake.
sharing.
So it's like, right. I have a visceral response. I can appreciate them,
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Like I can
And,
appreciate them that some of them are beautiful and they have
yeah,
some amazing skills, but that doesn't mean I'm not afraid. And I've never had a bad experience with a snake.
no, yeah. Most people have it, to be fair.
Yes.
But I think there is a kind of a bit of an idea with snakes and spiders as well. Is a very popular
Scorpions. Yeah.
scorpion. Again, I don't think I've ever seen a scorpion in my life. If not,
I
maybe at
can
a
ship
zoo.
you one the next time there's
No,
one in
I'm
my
good.
well,
I'm good.
next
Thanks.
time there's one in my shower, I'll send it
Oh
to you.
my God. I think I'll pull
You're
through
good?
life without seeing one. I'm good, thanks. I did see, because I told you I went to the US for my honeymoon and we were in Florida and I saw a crocodile get into the water or out of the water, I can't remember. But
Yes.
oh my God, a real they are real. They exist. So it
Yes.
wasn't just, yeah, that's a real
Yeah.
thing.
There's a lot of things in Florida that'll eat you.
Yeah, yeah, I heard. So yeah,
Alligators and
again,
crocodiles. So that was really interesting. I got to learn something new about alligators and crocodiles in Florida. So crocodiles can actually live in salt water. They need to drink fresh water, but they can actually basically hang out in salt water. Where alligators, while they can go in salt water, they really are more freshwater. So it was just all very interesting. It was very interesting.
It's fascinating. And actually, last time we were chatting via email, if you remember, I was going to do a zoo workshop. So I got to train a crocodile, a Ghana, I think it was called crocodile.
Oh, wow.
We were training the crocodile to move from one bit of water to another so that the zookeepers could clean the water. So she was a female, to follow a target effectively. So we were teaching her to follow a target. It was fascinating, really great.
And I do really love that the husbandry skills that are necessary with captive wild apex predators and not apex predators, that like what we learn about lemurs, what we learn about crocodiles and alligators and polar bears, and how to do a blood draw on a polar bear who will murder you. Thank you very much. And to do that with consent is finally making it to the dog world. And I really think
it's a lot coming though, isn't it? I'm like,
it's getting there. It's getting there. So I'll tell you I'm old, right? So I'll tell you the progression I've seen. I've seen a real resistance to this idea of consent, to a real embracing of it. Now, there is a learning curve. Like everyone likes the idea of consent until they're told no. And we have to learn how to be gracious about a no. Because if we want our children, if we're teaching our children about consent, then we have to, as adults, be willing to adjust and handle when our child says no, right? Or when our dog says no. It's not a personal attack. They don't hate you. They're just saying no, not right now. But once you get that magic going, it becomes so much better. And we have such more rich and involved and connected relationships, because instead of assuming we know and usurping some other living thing's perspective, we instead have to learn how to navigate that and to recognize that not like, I hate tickling. I hate it. Don't do it to me. But lots of kids love tickles. Right?
Absolutely.
One of my dogs does his own toenails. Thank you very much. Do not do my toenails. And I'm like, if you'll be responsible for them, we're good. Right? As long, like, we don't have to have a quarrel over this.
No.
If you're going to take care of them, it's all good. But there are times that I'm going to have to condition my child, my dog, my partner to something I need too. And to say, like, I know it's not really your cup of tea, but we've really got to go to this wedding. So let's negotiate that. Like, so I love that this idea of consent is getting into our bones. Now that people are doing it more so with kids, I'm seeing that that's a little bit easier transition. And my heart sings for 3 generations from now, where this really is just in our bones and how we move through the world.
I think you're right. The fact that people are seeing it with other humans, with children and adult or young adult, makes them actually realize what it is about, how powerful it is, and why it's so important. And the fact is that most of the time, say, like, even with my daughter, sometimes I want a hug, and she says no. I have to respect that. But what happens a lot of the time is that that's because she knows they highly respected her. And I think, then she can turn around and say, I'm ready now. Do you still want that hug? Then maybe she wouldn't have asked if I hadn't asked in the first place, and I have not. If I hadn't respected her and I would have just hugged her, she would have been like, you're not getting any more hugs from me, lady.
Right.
It's the same things with dogs, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, and I read research once that the average teenager needs 12 hugs a day, right? So,
oh my God, I can give more than that.
They probably do need more than that. Honestly, like I don't know. One of my dear friends is going through some stuff, and she's single, she's retired. And so we went to lunch. And it dawned on me, like, how long has it been since she's even had skin to skin contact with another human being? So I just asked her. I was like, when was the last time, like, you even held someone's hand? And she's like, I don't remember. And I'm like, well, my hands are available, right? And it was funny because we just held hands while we talked for a couple of minutes. And later in the day, she said, you had no idea how much, like, I didn't realize how much I needed that.
Yeah.
She's like, I could feel the stress going away. And I sometimes like listen to parents who are complaining about teenagers. And what I'm often hearing is the quarrels they have with their teenagers are that they miss them. Right? They miss watching the TV show they always used to watch together on Thursday night. And so I'm like, oh, we're arguing about the wrong things. Like, have you said to your daughter, I really miss when we used to read Harry Potter together?
It's so hard,
It's
isn't it?
hard
Because they
parenting
do, they
because
grow
they
up
grow up
and
so fast. You think you have all
yeah,
the time
in
in
a
the
blink
world
of an
and you
eye.
don't.
Yeah. And the thing is that, like, with my daughter, we're quite close, thank God, and I'm homeschooling her as well and everything. But there are things that inevitably I will always miss her when she was little. But at the same time, when she was little, there were, things that I didn't want.
Right.
And I thought, oh my God, I can't wait for her to grow up so that this is not going to happen again. And who knew that I was going to miss them?
Well, yes,
Do not
it's
wish
funny.
time away, that's for sure.
I tell mamas a lot, like there will be a day you miss the fingerprints on the switch plates
Yeah.
because they're not happening anymore.
Exactly.
And you don't realize it until it's gone. I do think that that's one of the advantages of being a little longer in the tooth and helping families because I've dealt with no kids. My dogs were my kids, and then my kids were my kids, and my dogs were my dogs. And now my dogs are my kids again, and my grandkids are also kids, but I don't get to see them often enough. So it's like I get to see like all these different pieces and have the advantage of I know exactly how overwhelmed that feels. That we're like, really, one more thing. And I'm like, let me help you figure out how to create plans during your life. Right? Like this was a situation today that was incredibly frustrating. What can I do differently next time that if we adjust it, we can test and see if that works better? Stuffing and freezing one meal a day in a Kong is a win.
Yeah. Why not? Yeah.
Right? It gives the dog enrichment. It gives you a break.
Yeah, exactly.
And we all need a timeout from time to time.
Of
And
course,
not a
yeah.
timeout in a you're in trouble, go sit in the corner timeout. Just
No.
hey, I need a moment.
It's just literally sometimes you want to be able to hear your own thoughts. Or actually sometimes you don't want to.
Right?
You don't want to think about anything for a minute.
Yeah, like when I looked at the date and went, wait, what? It's that date? I'm gonna get run over by Christmas. I just want to no, it's coming.
Like, and I don't know if it's an age thing as well, but as we grow older, I feel like time passes faster. And it's just like, what's going on? I'm not ready for anything.
Right. Like I joke that I get biffed in the back of the head by a Christmas every 22 minutes. That's what happens. So in talking about children who are afraid, I love that you're discussing, like, let's just watch that dog and see what we think, right? What are we feeling? How does that feel in my body? One of the things, I don't know so Colleen Pilar taught me this. I got a dog a day calendar that has pictures of dogs on the front and the back. And it's old, right? Like I bought one 1,000 years ago. But I do a ton of sitting with children and adults because now everybody is on screens all the time. And what we do is we pick a dog a day picture. It has one on the front and one on the back. And we come up with a story. What is that dog's face saying? What do we think the story might be? And so it starts to get that recognition of how dogs do communicate so much with their faces, right? And that the dog who's like showing major whale eye, what might that be about? Right? And the dog who's laughing, maybe he tooted, which is how Southern children call farting, right?
Oh, right, okay.
The dog might be a little bit gaseous. And so the
Uh,
dog's laughing because there's a stink bomb for the other dog, right? Like we make up the stories.
mhm.
And I find that that makes it very, well, one, parents start to see like, oh, my child doesn't understand what that body language means.
Mhm.
Or, oh, wow, I never thought of that. That's what that looks like, right?
Yeah.
So I find, and then we go, well, what face does mama make when
Mhm.
she tooted?
Yeah.
Right? Because toots are always funny, right? So then we mimic what mom would do, and we
Mhm.
would feel how that feels in our body,
Mhm.
right? So that we start drawing these things together, because to a certain extent, mammals are mammals, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Non-human animals and human animals have an awful lot in common.
Yeah, indeed.
And so if we can feel how that feels in our body, I don't think it's awful anthropomorphizing to
Mm,
say, well, my dog might feel similarly when that's the face they're making. I think
yeah,
probably the experience in their body is somewhat similar. I'm not saying it's identical, but
yeah.
there's not really any
No,
harm in going, no, that dog looks scared. And I know what scared feels like.
yeah,
And so when you feel that way, what could somebody do differently? Like if the dog lays down, does that make you feel less worried about that dog?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right?
And to be fair as well, it's really important, I think, for children to know that animals, not that we particularly work with dogs, but the dogs have feelings. It helps them to connect with the dog more, to understand them more, and hopefully to build that respect that we should have for animals. What's important, of course, is that when a dog is sad, they don't necessarily want a hug. you know,
Right.
they might from their human, the human that they
Right.
know well, they don't want it from a stranger. But the same thing is for us. If I am feeling down, I'm not gonna go in the middle of the road, go, anyone for a hug? I just don't do that. It's a bit frowned upon in the UK. But I would want it from my husband, I want it from my daughter, but I don't go for a stranger instead. So the kind of similarity with dogs in that respect, that a dog might want to cuddle from his humans, not from a stranger necessarily. So
Right. And
yeah.
how could we offer that to the dog and see
Yeah.
whether the dog says yes, please, or no, thank you?
Yeah, and showing that as well. If we go back to consent as well to make sure that if the dog says no, no, it is, and we can just wave, blow a kiss, hug ourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
So, one thing that I think parents struggle with a little bit, and I know I struggled with it as a parent, is when the child's intention is good, but it would not be well received by a different species, right? So, I'll give you a scenario. A toddler is playing in the house and and throws a foam ball and bonks the dog in the head who was asleep on his dog bed, snoozing in the sunshine. The dog startles and so the child identifies like, uh-oh, I worried the dog. So then the child wants to go and make it better by giving a hug,
Yeah.
which is not generally going to be really well received by a dog who was trying to sleep on
No.
his bed in the sun. How do you help families navigate that the child's wonderful, beautiful, sweet intention is not received by the dog that way, that or might not, that our primateness is very different than their canidness,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that it can how do you help families navigate that? Because they don't want to say to the child, no, 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 don't do that,
Mhm.
because they're trying to teach their child empathy and compassion and sympathy and all of those wonderful skills.
Very important to
It's
have
just
as
not
well.
received by the dog the same way. So,
Mm.
how do you help people navigate that?
To be fair, I always say like children are little, but they're not stupid. So we can actually explain things to them at their own level, at their own language, and tell them, oh, well, the dog will be a bit in a mood now because you hit him with the ball and probably doesn't want to be around you right now. But you can write a little note, apologize, give them something to do that is again appropriate for their age and that will reach the same goal because we want to build that empathy, we want the child to love the dog, but we can't obviously, allow certain things to happen. So instead, we can redirect them towards a positive thing, which could be, oh, why don't you go and get some treats that we can chuck to the dog? Or why don't we draw a little picture of the dog sleeping and we can write sorry on the top or something.
And even have like a little Nerf ball bouncing off of it.
You can do the ball. Yeah. I'm not sure if we want to relieve that moment, but yeah.
Well, I mean,
It
sometimes
happens.
it's funny. I talk about how when I had a 7-year-old, you never knew where that ball was going. Could go anywhere. Could go behind him.
Yeah.
Like he could beam
It
me in
could
the head.
disappear and
Leave
never
me
to be
he
found
could throw
again.
a ball upstairs and it would beam me in the head downstairs.
Yeah. It's just
Well,
that
Debbie,
magic the children have.
it has been. Oh, so let's talk super, super, super quickly. If somebody's a trainer or someone's a mama or a daddy or a grandma who wants
Mhm.
to understand all of these things better, how do they get involved with
So to
kids
become a
around dogs?
trainer, to become a KAD Approved Professional, or also for your association, if you have an association or a rescue center, for example, that you want to be part of Kids Around Dogs, that's completely possible, no matter where you are in the world. And you can go on our website on kidsarounddogs.co.uk. There is a bit that says join us, and you can find the information there. You can also email me directly on kidsarounddogs@gmail.com, or I'm on Facebook, Instagram, literally everywhere, YouTube, and you can send me a message and I can send all the information. If you are that's if you're a professional, that means you could be a dog professional, but also someone that works in the childcare department. So, for instance, a teacher, for example, or social service. It is perfectly fine. We have a few schools that are part of Kids Around Dogs as well. Um, if instead you're a parent or a carer and you'd like to be able to educate the children or train the dog or both, possibly, you can get in touch with your local KAD approved professional or association. And again, you go onto our website, kidsarounddogs.co.uk, and there is a bit called Find Your Professional. And you click on that, put your zip code or the town you are in or county and so on, and the nearest person will pop up. If you don't have anyone immediately close, because as you pointed out, America is the US is very, very big country. A lot of our professionals work online, so you can feel free to get in touch, or again, to get in touch with me directly, and I can help you out to find someone that is perfect for the situation you're after.
So, Debbie, I want to thank you for spending your precious time with us. And
Thank
I
you.
hope you'll visit again. I
I
found
hope.
this very helpful for me, even as a professional, to have some new ideas to put
Mm,
into the toolbox. I
mm,
really believe in empowering parents
yeah,
and really sharing with them the message that they are enough, right? They're
absolutely.
doing a great job. Our goal, and it sounds like your goal too, is that we're making that more elegant and easier to be
Yeah,
magical in their
yeah.
household and to really foster this deep, beautiful relationship between kids and dogs and to make that as safe and as kind and as beautiful as it can possibly be.
Oh, I love it. You said exactly like what's on my mind. So yes,
Well, good. I'm
definitely
going to have
on
to
the
look at
same.
becoming a CAD professional because I love being able to add another feather to the cap. So I'll
Be
be looking into
fantastic.
that myself. So
Thank you. That'd be awesome. Thank you.
thank you so much. If I don't see you before the holidays, please have a beautiful and blessed and just rejuvenating winter
Well, I
and
like the
holiday
rejuvenating
season.
part. Yes, please.
Yes. This is
Thank you
usually
so
when
much
I
for
get the
everything.
call from the mom crying in her closet saying, I'm drinking box wine because this is the closet is the only place I can hide.
Ironically, this morning, that's how I felt. I literally, I texted my husband and I said, I feel like I want to curl myself in a corner and just rock myself to sleep. Like that. I just can't do it. It was, sometimes well, the best of us just get so full of everything that
Yeah,
life can get. Sometimes life is a bit much.
yeah,
And then you pull yourself together because you have to, because you're a parent, and you go, you know what, I can't really afford to not parent. I have
right.
to parent, I can't afford not to. And just you need to put yourself together. But it's hard work to be a parent of dogs and
It
kids,
is.
or just one or the other. So yeah, I think we all do a fantastic job. And whoever is listening to your podcast, they're already doing an amazing job.
Yes.
Just by when they're cooking and they're listening to this is fantastic. So
Exactly.
yeah, well done
Exactly.
you.
So thank you so much. I hope you'll
Thank you.
join us again. I can't wait
Thank
to learn more. And I'll include all the links and the protocol for relaxation and all of that in the show notes. And I'll be letting you know when the episode airs. Thank you so much. You have been a
Thank
rich
you.
blessing. Thank you.
Thank you. You too. Thank you. Have a lovely morning.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. That's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for spending part of your precious day with us. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to follow, rate, subscribe so that you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear from you. Connect with us on social media or email us at yourfamilydogpodcast@gmail.com. We'll see you soon.